Hey, I brought news from the future.
2039.
2039. So are you guys set up yet?
I'm
I'm thinking that we need to make a campaign, for people to get T-shirts out in 2039. Well, right now, of course, people have not been staking as much for as long, right? Yeah, it's a little misleading when you look at the average staking length, because that's the average of existing stakes. It's not even the average of the remaining years, right? It's the average of the existing stakes. And so we just have this huge number of people who are not going out Quattro Cinco. And I understand why, right? I mean, but I'm going out Quattro Cinco and a bunch of other people are. I think like 1,600 wallets have on the Pulsechain.
Really?
Something like that. And but there's only 20,000 T-shirts out there, and so I hope that I'll be there to see the day when people are going to be like, "Oh, those goddamn whales! They have all of the yield," and I'm going to be like, "Yeah, we were talking about this."
Most people only have one. How much are those? How many of those are HSIs?
Well, how about this? I'll share it with you. And we could pull it up and look at it. So I was thinking, of course, this is crypto. People do what they're going to do, and it's DeFi, right? So you don't have to do anything I say to do, for sure. People make their own decisions. But if you're in HEX and you're thinking about being around for that kind of period of time, this is the kind of stuff that that really can make it or break it right now. So I shared that screen up there. And so I'll go a little bit larger with this and just take a look at what we have for T-shares out there. With a focus mode on this and take a look. So right now, out in 2039, looking at the T-shares for 2039, and I'm doing a little bit of magic here because I'm just looking at the whole year. Right? Remember, stakes do end throughout the year, but currently we have 16 whales, 119 sharks, 525 dolphins, 510 squids, 170 turtles, and an assortment of crabs, shrimps, and shells out there right now. And that's based on about 20,000 T-shares. 20,000 T-shares. And currently a T-share is, I think the last I saw was $192 for a one-day T-share. And so for a Quattro Cinco T-share, it's $64 for one T-share in 2039. So from play the numbers kind of thing, we go look and see what the requirements are right now. One T-share will make you a squid. Two will make you a dolphin.
What?
And so I think that's a hell of a bet. Wow. Now, of course, this is kind of like looking at the numbers and being like, okay, well, how many T-shirts are going to be out there? People will come in later and probably overlay, but right now, what we have is this huge gap, right? We're at something about 9 million T-shirts, and there's only 20,000 out in out Quattro Cinco, and based on what we're seeing, is the numbers have been coming down so fast that and that people are not restaking. We have this like sweet spot. Probably they'll last another year. It depends on how quickly people come back. Where people who come in now and get T-shares will be paying so much less that there'll be this gap, in the numbers. And how will that gap be filled? Right, it's going to be very hard to fill the gap. So the longer people wait on it, the better it gets for the existing miners. So I'm looking at it. Of course, it's still a sizable investment to become a whale, right? I mean, today, if you just wanted to be a 2039 whale, I don't know, it's $12,000, $13,000 US to swap into that much HEX. Versus if you want to be a whale, the way things are today, right now, be a whale, it's 600,000. And so when you pair this kind of information up about just how accessible it is at the moment to increase your rank, I think that's really the point. Not so much about being the highest, right? Well, for some people it will be, but it's about increasing your rank over time. This is an opportunity, particularly if you've decided you're already going to be here for the 15 to 30 years. And some people talking about 3 cycles, 45 years.
Yeah.
When you transpose that against potential price appreciation and the cost of T-shares, it's kind of crazy thinking, but I'm almost thinking that if I was wanted to do short-term staking in the future, it might make better sense now to get the T-shares for the $60 in 2039 instead of waiting until the equivalent value is 1 million, which is certainly a possibility out there.
Yeah. I wonder how this compares to like the discount on wrapped T-shares.
Oh, you mean as far? Yeah, it's kind of an apples and oranges because remember, we are fading now on the Maxi. I forget which year that it ends offhand, but Maxi does end at some point. Of course, Deci ends after 10 years, and so we're a few years into each of those contracts.
Well, Deci's perpetual, Maxi's not.
Yeah, it is. But remember, the next round of Deci will be at a much higher T-share rate. Yeah. Yeah, so how that'll all work out, I don't know, but I don't know. For me, this is pretty mind blowing. I'd really like to see people go and stake, and I've seen some response to my campaign. People are going out and staking out there. It's just not moving the number very much.
Well, this has probably got to be a better deal, but somebody would have to do the math than even Deci at a 40% discount because you're spending an extra 5 years, which is another 33%. And Deci contract has to buy back higher. So it makes sense that this is probably a better deal because that last third is going to be, because it's basically mimicking compound interest. And that the last third is way more than just the first third. It's like exponentially more. So I would guess that the market is truly undervaluing all this that you're talking about. So I'm glad you're bringing it to our attention.